into the ring, the bell's about to chime. Turnbuckle Talk, we're here to shine. Flagship on the airways, leading the pack. Breaking news, reviews, we've got your back. From the squared circle to the backstage news, we bring stories that you can't refuse. Turnbuckle Talk, the voice of the fight. Every slam, every suplex, every highlight. Tune in weekly, don't miss a beat. For the latest in wrestling, we bring the heat. From AEW to WWE, we cover it all from A to Z. Interviews, insights, and match reviews. If it's wrestling news, we got the clues. From the squared circle to the backstage news, we bring stories that you can't refuse. Turnbuckle Talk, the voice of the fight. Every slam, every suplex, every highlight. Tune in weekly, don't miss a beat. For the latest in wrestling, we bring the heat.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is Turnbuckle Talk episode 469. WrestleMania announcing their matches this morning. We'll take a look at that in our main event segment. OMD, how are you doing today?
I am doing very, very well. It was weird to go back to work after having had a 4-day weekend, and I'm not used to having that much time off. But I'm feeling good, feeling refreshed, feeling relaxed, and I mean, lots in the news today. And a lot to cover here.
Yeah, give me 2 seconds here. I'm just quickly fixing up something here. Yeah, we got some signings. We got we got signings. We got mysterious vignettes. But let's start it off with yet another NXT trademark.
Okay.
OMD, what have you got on this one?
So, this is that WWE has filed for NXT Revenge. And of course, my article doesn't want to go. There it is. Whether this is for a new premium live event or a show being added to the NXT calendar, this was just filed yesterday. Under serial number 997461115, covers entertainment services including the production and exhibition of professional wrestling events rendered through broadcast media and distributed via various platforms. So with professional wrestling show services in the filing, suggesting that it is intended as an event or programming rather than for merchandise or other purposes. As is standard with the WWE trademark filings, the application secures the intellectual property associated with the name, preventing other organizations from using it or anything similar. I have to admit, when I first saw this, my first thought went to WCW NWO Revenge, the video game.
Yeah, and I'd like to credit David Robles for reporting on this one, but this to me does seem like a post stand and deliver PLE, I'm going to say.
Yeah, like, because you go to WrestleMania and then you've got Backlash, so that would actually make sense.
Well, because if you look at it this way, like with WrestleMania and Backlash, right? Backlash is always the revenge show for all the WrestleMania stories that didn't finish.
Yep.
Stand and deliver. There may have been some stories that I feel like did get wrapped up, but at the same time, there's a lot of people who could be out there seeking their revenge on those wrestlers. I mean, just going to put it out there. Ethan Page and Ricky Saints maybe looking for some kind of revenge.
Okay, I still haven't seen Stand and Deliver. I'm actually probably going to watch that after the show tonight. What it says here as well is should they deploy it as an NXT premium live event, it would join a calendar that featured 8 such shows last year, with January, March, June, and November all going without a dedicated PLE. I am okay with NXT not having a PLE every month. But it could also be one of those brand specials, like they've done with Gold Rush, and that features crossovers with TNA, Evolve, and AAA. So you have to wonder, what is this going to bring? I like the idea of a PLE, but I also like it. Like, one of my favorite show names, and I would love to see this come out, and this one came from me, would be in the line of a Vengeance or Revenge. I want a show called Vendetta. And that's just me.
Well, I mean, at the same time, we already have a Vengeance named pay-per-view. Vengeance Day is an NXT pay-per-view.
Yep.
I wouldn't mind because they mention here that there's 2 night events that they do with NXT. If they already have like 8 PLEs, why not do another 2 night just regular show?
Right?
Put PLE quality matches on those shows as they usually do.
What I would like to see with this, and I'm going to be honest, is you do it, not just make it a 2-night special, make it a 4-night special with NXT and TNA. Or you bring it in and merge it with AAA and Worlds Collide.
AAA already does 4 night events though.
So
AAA just did a Rey Reyes, which is a 4 night event. So
you could do and I'd like to see it be on a Wednesday, Thursday for 2 consecutive weeks of NXT and TNA.
Mm-hmm. I'd be all right with that, but and here's the thing with WWE and how fast they get their trademarks pushed. It was not even a month ago that we were talking about them doing the trademark for Birthright, and
Right?
they're already using the name Birthright as Lexis King's new stable.
Yeah.
And I say Lexis King, I'm not sure if he's the leader or not, because it doesn't seem that there is a discernible leader in that group right now.
Right. But what I think happens is that they are probably already working on it. They are probably looking at all the legal ramifications well in advance before they even begin these filings, and that way they can get the filings, get the money pushed across to get this done.
They probably already have the logo. They probably already have the date. They probably already have the arena set for where they're going to do the show.
Yeah, but like I said, my first thought went to WCW NWO Revenge, the video game. And would that be something intriguing that you add NXT Revenge as something into 2K26 as part of a future season pass or DLC, as opposed to making it a premium live event?
No, because they've already got all their DLCs and all that set up. It's already been announced what we're getting for the year for WWE 2K26. So it seems more like it's going to be for an upcoming show. And if it's a PLE, Chris Parrish, if you're listening somewhere, I fully expect that we may have a watch party in the future for this one.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm intrigued. I wouldn't mind a revenge type style show that happens after Stand and Deliver. Just like we get with WrestleMania, we always like to see that fallout, right?
Yep.
So, I mean, WWE does those fallout shows pretty dang well. WCW didn't really do them well.
No.
WCW didn't really have fallout shows either. So
no, it was sort of carried over.
We'd go from Starrcade to Sold Out, and that'd be it, you know?
Yep.
And I'm mentioning Starrcade because obviously Starrcade was a WCW's answer to WrestleMania. But yeah, Let's move on. Let's move on to from what one type of paper being signed to another. This one actually really excites me because I got really curious about this wrestler over the last while, and now it's good to know where he's going. And that is Trevor Lee, the former Cameron Grimes, is going to Major League Wrestling. I cannot be any more excited for this guy. This guy was a hidden gem in NXT, in my personal opinion, and was wasted on the main roster when he got brought up. Bar none.
100%. He was magnificent in NXT. Yes, he was not
Mhm.
booked correctly on the main roster, but I was a huge fan of his when I watched him as the Technical Savage in TNA, a former X Division champion. And I believe he was also a former tag team champion in TNA as well. I can't remember offhand, but now he is going to MLW and joining a number of former WWE talents: Shotzi Blackheart, Karrion Kross, Donovan Dijak, Bishop Dyer. This is going to be incredible, and I can't wait to see what MLW has for the Technical Savage.
Yeah, I am just so excited to see what we're getting out of Trevor Lee here. Um, Watching him post WWE in the matches that I could find of his, because he did travel the independent circuit, it was a little bit difficult for me to find some of the work that he was doing post WWE. So to know that he's going to be on MLW on a weekly basis, that's a big plus for me because I've got the access to watch MLW on YouTube on a weekly basis.
Right.
And I think MLW can do some great stuff with him.
Right. And his thoughts on MLW, saying it's not WWE, but it is not an indie. They are right there.
Mhm.
Really trying to, I guess, maybe paint them as sort of the number 4 company in all of North American wrestling.
I'd like to paint a picture for people who don't get to watch MLW here. So back in the day, we had WWE and WCW, your top two promotions. And then there was ECW. ECW was all your workhorse guys or your hardcore wrestlers. That's what MLW is today.
Yeah.
That's the way I see MLW, because MLW does have your hardcore wrestlers, like Vance Warner came from there, and then they also have your workhorse guys, Trevor Lee, um, Alex Kane, Alex Hammerstone. He may be a big muscular dude, but he's a workhorse.
Yep.
Um, I can't wait to see what he does. Oh, Karrion Kross, obviously the
Yeah.
Killer Cross, the heavyweight champion there.
Yes. Like I pointed out earlier as well, that Trevor Lee is a former TNA champion, X Division champion, and I believe a tag team champion as well.
Mm-hmm.
That was where I really fell in love with him. And at first, I wasn't sure. I mean, yes, the guy came out looking like a caveman. Yes, WWE changed his look a little
Yeah,
bit and gave him that Cameron Grimes gimmick. And then when they gave him the, money gimmick and he was feuding with LA Knight with Ted DiBiase at the center of it, it was just magical. And it brought that character
he
that
was
Trevor Lee has in.
the character that Cameron Grimes played was like a rich hobo. That's what he looked like, and it was
Yeah.
awesome. It was
Yeah.
awesome. Think of for those who don't remember, I also kind of likened that gimmick to when Jamie Noble was the rich guy living in the trailer park.
Yep.
That's what I kind of liked it to.
What I want to liken, and what I truly remember of Trevor Lee with his time in TNA as the Technical Savage, I liken him to a guy we've seen here once with CWE, Moondog Buzz.
I was not there for that show, but I know where you're coming from, especially with the Moondogs as a whole. But yeah, that Trevor Lee, man, I cannot wait to see more of you. I was bummed out when he got released. I just
And
and
I
the what was it, like 2 or 3 times when he got called up to SmackDown? 2 or 3 times we've seen him on TV, and then they're like, "Yeah, we're letting you go." They
yeah,
could have just moved him. They couldn't have moved him back down to NXT.
right.
You know?
What I'm looking forward to, because there is another name in here that I would love to see that rematch now from what they did in TNA, and that is Trevor Lee and Austin Aries.
Man, I got to meet him. Man, I got to watch work, and they would put on one hell of a matchup.
Yeah,
Um,
they've had it in TNA.
yeah, but I think before we go to our next set of stories, I think we should take our first commercial break.
A Turnbuckle affiliation program is looking for more people. If you have passion level for pro wrestling, sports, video skims, or something else, then Turnbuckle Studios is the place to be. If you have ever wanted to pursue content creation and want to join our team, then we would love to have you. Check out turnbucklestudios.org or contact us by email today, because your future is now, and we want you to tap in.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. If you have ever wanted your break in podcasting, content creation, a potential collaboration, or to help us out behind the scenes, turnbucklestudios.org is your home for the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program. And we want you to hit the join button. Email us, send us your credentials, tell us how you can help us, how you believe we can help you, and we will sit down as a collective and figure out the right fit. All of that and so much more. turnbucklestudios.org/join and turnbucklestudios.org, your home for the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program.
Well said, OMD. And now we got some contract news to talk about. More contract news to talk about. Lots of contract news tonight, by the way.
Yes.
And this one concerns our current TNA heavyweight champion. That's right, Mike Santana. Over the last year, Santana has been basically the top guy in TNA, winning the TNA World Heavyweight Championship on 2 different occasions, even headlining TNA's marquee event, Bound for Glory, against Trick Williams in what was a fantastic match, by the way. So, it seems that Santana, we all thought Santana could very well be there in the long run. But there are now reports that are going around that TNA's contract with Mike Santana is set to expire this summer, making him a free agent. Now, we don't know if there is an exact date for when Santana will become available. Nothing was specified as far as that goes. But it should be noted that there is outside interest for Santana, with WWE looking to get him.
Yep.
AEW's on that list as well. I'm sure that there are other promotions out there, but let's talk. Let's say Mike Santana's contract does come to an end and he chooses not to re-sign with TNA. I don't expect him to go back to AEW. I'll tell you that right now.
Not at all. I think with everything he went through in AEW before, including his struggles with his demons and really not feeling the support, I think that I don't see him going back there. Plus, he's got no reason to go back there. He had the falling out with Ortiz. I don't know about his and Eddie Kingston's relationship. We know that after his first couple of appearances on NXT, yes, he got some time off. There was outside interest back then. Honestly, TNA has let too many of their big names walk in recent memory, and I'm going to say Josh Alexander, Jordan Grace. They cannot afford to lose Mike Santana because they don't have somebody to truly step in and fill that role.
Yeah, and the biggest name they lost, say his name and he appears.
Yes.
Joe Hendry. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't discount him.
No, you can't.
You were sorry, you were saying?
Now, I've always said, and I would love to see, as part of this crossover, if Santana was in a position to need a tag team partner, and this is, I'm not going to go to the NXT, one name, one man who comes from the same place he does, Damian Priest.
I could see that. That'd be interesting. They're both Cuban born, if I'm not mistaken. That makes a lot of sense there. So when Santana left AEW, everybody was like, "Oh, he should go to WWE. He should go to WWE." I believe it was just you and I who were like, "No, he'd be better in TNA."
Yeah.
Um,
He needed TNA because that was where he had really experienced his most success, and he needed to go back there to find himself. And I think that, much like a guy like Moose
yeah,
and Eddie Edwards, that is where Santana thrives. Yes, Santana would have a fantastic run in NXT and would be the guy to step in and replace the Ethan Pages, the Ricky Saints when they get their call-ups.
yeah, and
But who's there to replace him in TNA, where he is now the sort of the cornerstone?
yeah, and that's sort of like, I don't know. I don't know who could replace Santana if he were to leave. And this is all speculation, guys. Like we said, we do know the contract is coming to an end by the summer, this current contract. But between now and then, he may sign a new deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, just last week he did show up on NXT and helped Bronco Nima and Lucian Price defeat the Dark State.
Yep.
I almost said Dark Order, but that's AEW.
yes, it is.
And he put on one heck of a show there, and the Madison Square Garden crowd was just insane for him, or the Paramount Theater at Madison Square Garden, still Madison Square Garden,
but again, he is a native New Yorker. He is Brooklyn born, so for him to have that opportunity and wrestle in the Paramount Theater at Madison Square Garden, that is huge for him. That is huge for them because it is the hometown hero coming home.
Yeah. But if he does decide he's done with TNA and wants to move on, give me one. Sorry, had to take a drink. If he is done with TNA, I do see WWE being his next home. But I do want to see him stick around in TNA a couple more years and build, as you said, build himself to being a cornerstone of TNA, because TNA is kind of lacking in those stars. I mean, yes, the EY is still there. Frankie Kazarian is still there, but those guys aren't going to be there forever.
No, they're not. And I mean, and then of course you've got Moose and Eddie Edwards who are starting to really get up there. So you need that new face of the franchise to truly step in, take over.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be honest with you, if Santana does leave, I don't think he really needs the NXT. I think he is another guy, and I know that we're seeing it with Joe Hendry right now, but ready to be hot-shotted and can go right to the main roster.
I want to see him go to NXT because there's several guys in NXT I want to see him work with. Tony D'Angelo, right off the top of my head. I think him and Tony D would put on one hell of a match.
Yep.
I want to see him do work with Birthright as well. Have some matches with everybody in that group.
Yep.
And that would be a way, because let's face it, there's a lot of WWE hardcores out there who just don't watch any other wrestling, so they don't know who Mike Santana is.
Yep.
So that's well, they might now, but I mean, they only know him as a guy who shows up every 6 months, you know?
Yeah. And I mean, even prior to his return to TNA, he's had some time in MLW.
MLW is another company that could call him and be like, "Hey, we want you to come in."
Yeah.
And I I think, but I think the leading offer would have to be WWE. I think WWE will make a big play for him. And I think that here's the thing that I don't want to see though. When he comes to the main roster, don't put him with any of the luchadors or anything like that.
No.
Maybe have a couple matches or a feud with Penta,
Yep.
but move him on to other things. Put him into some big picture matches. Do what they're doing with Damian Priest, for instance. Damian Priest, we all know he's a Spanish wrestler, but we don't see him teaming up with the luchadors all the
No.
time.
And I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, if you go back to his initial run as part of LAX,
Hmm.
go and watch Santana and Ortiz versus Penta and Phoenix.
Oh, I know about that match.
Yeah.
There's a lot of let's just say this is going to be an interesting summer for Santana should he not re-sign with TNA.
Yeah.
If he does, good on him. Sign for like 3 more years. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
Sign for 3 more years. Build your status up even more. Don't do what, I hate to say it, but I know he's kind of becoming a cornerstone of TNA, but don't do what Moose did, because Moose was a hot commodity when he went to TNA.
Yep.
He could have explored other options and then had gone to TNA, but I'm glad that he did find a permanent home in TNA at the same time.
Yes. One of the things that, and I applaud TNA on this, is that you bring these guys in and you don't necessarily have to do these 3 and 5 year deals. They do, 6-month contracts. And I know that Santana's has rolled over to about 2 years now. So you can do that in a 6-month contract, or, let him work in that crossover again. If he jumps ship to NXT, let him work in that crossover, but don't have him betray the TNA locker room. Have him do it somewhat impartially, even though he's on a new company.
Yeah. Yeah. I like where you're going with that one. Like, if he does leave and goes to NXT, make him so that he's still maybe part of TNA's roster, but maybe he's like a mole, as it were. You know what I mean?
Well, no, and that's what I'm saying is I don't want that betrayal. I don't want it to be like Kurt Angle inside the Alliance. I want it to be a case of, okay, he's saying that, yes, I'm leaving, I'm going to NXT, celebrate with TNA, even if he's going to go back to TNA and have some matches as part of this crossover.
Mm-hmm.
TNA is still home for him, so he's not going in there to wreak havoc on behalf of NXT.
Understandable, that part. So have him have, like, I would say give him like a passing of the torch match. I don't know who it would be with right now, because I'm not sure who could be second from Santana right now over there.
Yeah,
But have that passing of the torch match, and he loses, and there's the handshake and the hugging with the wrestlers. Then everybody, all the baby faces from TNA come out and they celebrate him as he bids adieu to the TNA crowd, right?
Right now, there are 2 veteran names who are both sitting in the position of getting a title shot. One with the Call Your Shot, and one that has the briefcase from Feast or Fired. And I am talking about Eddie Edwards and Nick Nemeth.
Now, we talk about guys who could become cornerstones for TNA. I think Nick Nemeth is on that path.
He is, because he changed the face of TNA when he arrived. But I think Santana's just had that presence. I mean, he was the one who sent Josh Alexander packing. We knew Josh's contract was coming up. They had an I Quit match that Santana won to let Josh Alexander go. So I don't want to see something like that. I would rather see, okay, I'm dropping the title. It's time for new breath. It's time for a new leader here in TNA.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I'm sort of apprehensive on the idea of a Moose, a Nick Nemeth, or an Eddie Edwards taking the lead. I'd like to see it be somebody young. Leon Slater. Somebody who has had his back.
Yeah.
You could go to past champions in either of the Hardys. You could pass it on to somebody new, whether that be a Brian Myers or a Bear Bronson. So there are some intriguing names, but none that truly stand out to be that new face of TNA.
Yeah. And again, this is all speculation, and we've got more speculation coming up right now. There was a weird 7-second vignette that aired, and this is a snippet of it right here, guys. It was a 7-second vignette that aired last night on Raw that featured Liv Morgan and these girls here in sort of what looked like a dance music video sort of thing. It was strange to see because I have gone back and rewatched it,
Okay.
and I'm wondering, it's got fans confused as to what this is. People are speculating maybe it's a tease for a special WrestleMania entrance for Liv Morgan. Yeah, Liv Morgan is tied to this because her laugh was featured in the
Okay.
video as well.
Okay. I checked out the video in the article. I did not hear Liv Morgan's laugh.
It's the Liv Morgan laugh that appears at the beginning of her theme song.
Oh, yeah, I didn't hear it in the video at all. And it's only speculation that it's Liv Morgan. We don't know that it's Liv in the video.
Liv Morgan also tweeted about it.
Oh, well, that I did not see. The only thing I saw Liv Morgan tweeting about was the hematoma after going through the Geritron 5000 last night.
Yeah.
What I'm wondering, and it could be, but I have to wonder, does it necessarily have to be an entrance for somebody, or could it just be a very, very special musical performance? Because if you go back to that long blonde hair, there are two names that really come to mind, even three. And I'm going to suggest, could it be potentially a Christina Aguilera performance? Could it potentially be a Britney performance at WrestleMania? Or Lady Gaga, who tends to turn these types of moments into monuments?
Or because Liv Morgan is somehow tied to it. Is this the start of a new group that Liv is going to start, and she's on her way out of the Judgment Day, or she's taking Raquel and Roxanne and doing her own thing?
I will be honest, from this clip, it really draws me back to Extreme Expose in the WWE version of ECW. But I don't know. I really don't know. I'm gonna have to go back and try and listen to this again after, because this is very, very puzzling and confusing to me.
It is to me as well, but and I said this could tease a possible special entrance for Liv. Liv is involved in one of the major matches at WrestleMania. But they've never teased special entrances for wrestlers at WrestleMania.
No, they haven't.
they would say something like, "Oh, this performer is playing live at WrestleMania," like they did for WrestleMania 18, right? They said Saliva and Drowning Pool were going to perform their songs at WrestleMania. Never did they mention that Drowning Pool was going to play Triple H to the ring or that Saliva was going to play the Dudley Boys to the ring.
Right.
And they did that night.
And WrestleMania 17, they never announced that Motorhead was playing Triple H out.
They just said Motorhead was going to be there. That's it.
What was it? WrestleMania? I want to say 30, but I'm thinking probably a little bit further down. Rev Theory randomly playing Randy Orton to the ring.
Yeah. So this is interesting, and maybe tonight on NXT there's more to this video. Maybe on Friday there's more to this video on SmackDown. We'll have to take a wait and see. But you guys, you know what you don't have to wait and see? All of our fine programming at the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program.
Turnbuckle Studios and the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program bring you the week of streams. All times are in Eastern Time. Monday nights you get the Locker Room Breakdown at 7 p.m., followed by the Raw Patrol at 8 p.m. Tuesday brings you the flagship show, Turnbuckle Talk, at 8:05 p.m. Wednesday we play games with the PlayStation Showcase at 8 p.m. Thursday we go TNA as we brace for Impact at 9 p.m. On Fridays, join us for the SmackDown Security Detail at 8 p.m. The weekend brings you Saturday Night Gaming at 8 p.m. On Sunday, be sure to catch the Chris Parrish podcast at 12:15 p.m. And later that night, we have the Boar's Nest at 8 p.m. Be part of the shows and join the chat every day. And please visit turnbucklestudios.org.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. There is something for you each and every night of the week here at Turnbuckle Studios. Hit the shows button, hit the host button, and meet the team. That does not include our special events like the PLE Patrol coming up on April 18th and 19th, as Mr. Best and I will host the PLE Patrol for WrestleMania Nights 1 and 2. But click on the host section, get our socials, click on each of our links to get our socials, and watch our latest weekly episodic programs. All of that and so much more. Turnbucklestudios.org, your home for the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program.
Yeah, and give me 1 second here. Yeah, I'm dealing with a slight bit of lag here, but guys, it is our stopper segment now. WrestleMania match reveal. This morning at 9:35 to be precise, ESPN decided that they were going to reveal the exact match order for WrestleMania. And yeah, we're going to talk about the ones that are going to be on ESPN Plus or ESPN for that first hour each night. And these are interesting matches here. We've got, of course, Brock Lesnar going up against Obafemi. We've got the 6-man tag team matchup that was announced last night with Aishu Speed, Logan Paul, and Austin Theory taking on the Usos in LA Knight. Jacob Fatu will be going up against Drew McIntyre and the 6-man ladder match. What did I say? What did I say a couple weeks ago about what they need to do with this ESPN 1 hour deal? You need to put marquee matches so that you can entice people to buy the show.
You absolutely do.
They did that.
And, you know, we were discussing this last night when we found out, because I knew you were excited for the editing. But I know you didn't believe that they were going to give us the actual match order, which they gave us.
Yes.
And that really, really got me going. It got my juices flowing, because you are kicking off night 1 on ESPN 2 with Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu unsanctioned.
Yeah. I cannot wait. I mean, this is how you do it. I mean, I've said this. You start WrestleMania off with one of your big matches. That's how they
Yeah.
always do it. I
Yep.
mean, well, WrestleMania 1, I mean, Tito Santana versus the Executioner, it wasn't a match everybody was clamoring for, but I mean, prior to the early days of WrestleMania,
Yeah,
WrestleMania 10,
that's
though, WrestleMania 10, everybody wanted to see Brett versus Owen, and that was the
right.
opening match.
Yep. And that's one of those things that happens as you grow and evolve, right? You
Hmm.
know that you don't want to go with that slow build through each night. You need to grab your audience right away. And that is exactly what they've done both nights with
Yeah.
the openers.
I
And
think with
they
all four matches are going to be grab your attention and be like, I want to subscribe to ESPN Plus. I want to subscribe to Netflix and watch the rest of WrestleMania.
right. I'm gonna say this. Um really, I think that the one match that I would have maybe moved to later in the show on night one is the six-man tag, the Usos and LA Knight versus the Vision and I Show Speed. And I would have gone with something a little bit different in there. Maybe your Seth and Gunther.
But I get why they did that because of the amount of eyes that Logan Paul and I Show Speed can bring to the ESPN crowd.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Right.
There is no
That's
denying that.
that's exactly why they did that.
Um, but I think that, I hate to say it, but I think that that match is that lull match. And, you hear the wrestlers, and I mean, one guy in particular, Chris Jericho, say you never want to go on second. You want to be first or last. You don't want the number 2 match.
For me personally, I didn't care as long as I was on the card. I
Right.
didn't care where I was.
But we are getting Drew and Jacob unsanctioned to open it. And you're grabbing your audience attention, and then you could leave them in a state of shock with what happens in that match. And that is my little bit of a concern, because you could have something go catastrophically wrong despite all of the precautions that everybody is going to be taking at WrestleMania, and you could lose your audience.
Mhm.
And then how do you get them back?
You start them
I-
off with a banger for the actual pay-per-view part of the show.
yeah,
The part that isn't free.
right.
The part that's going to make people who decided not to pay for the subscription regret missing that.
Right. But and I don't want to go to this idea, but Over the Edge 99. What if something like that goes catastrophically wrong, and then you get the show must go on?
I mean, it's a risk that they take every night they're on TV regardless. So, I mean, not to knock Owens passing or anything like that, because that still hits hard, but it is a risk, but I wouldn't do anything that risky at all.
No, I wouldn't either.
I would make it like every match on there just already seems like a banger of a match. So just let the wrestlers do their thing. Let the wrestlers sell the reason why the viewers who are watching that first hour, who are still hemming and hawing at wanting to watch the actual event or wanting to pay for that ESPN subscription to watch WrestleMania. That's what that 1 hour is going to be there for. It's going to be kind of like the preview, the
pre-show.
preview channel on when we used to watch the free for alls, right? The free for alls always had one match, and that one match was supposed to entice you to watch the pay-per-view. Granted, some of the matches made no sense, like Yokozuna and Stone Cold SummerSlam 96 pre-show,
Right.
but
Or what was it at WrestleMania 23? Ric Flair and Carlito versus Chavo and I want to say Hurricane.
Yeah, something like that. But even they also used to do this with Sunday Night Heat. They always had a pre-show match on Sunday Night Heat.
Yep.
And I think the selling point for that was like, look at the crowd, look at the setting. And I'm going to use the example that I saw, which was RVD versus Rene Dupree.
Right.
And those two guys for a Sunday Night Heat match and the 5 or 10 minutes that they got, they tore the house down.
Yeah. I remember the one that was, I believe it was in New York at the UBS Arena. And The Miz had the pre-show match, and the crowd was barely coming in and funneling into their seats. And you had The Miz with the B team, I do believe, at the time as well, coming out, making their way to the ring. And the next night on Raw, he's like, so this is what a full arena looks like.
I know what event you're talking about. It was SummerSlam. It was the Barclays Center.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Brooklyn. I remember that show very well because they did 2-hour preview shows, and they went on like 5 minutes into that 2 hours, and the arena was still trying to get like a bunch of people in. And it's like, no, let's not do that show.
Right. I do want to welcome Jay Had Bees here, saying hello, my Mad Hatters. Today was lit. The King of Wrestling, Tony Khan, giving the interview of the year on the Coach and Bro show. I've seen excerpts. I haven't listened to the whole thing yet. Something that I wouldn't mind checking out to see where Tony Khan is coming from, especially as it relates to those two.
You won't get a straight answer. He'll be vague. He's always vague about his things. But anyways, let's talk about these individual matches that are starting off the shows. I mean, Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre. They're putting a lot on Jacob Fatu to be doing this, by the way.
Yes.
Drew can carry this. I guarantee you that to be that opening matchup for the entire weekend, mind you. I think that this is going to be a barn burner of a matchup between these two men. The arena will not be able to contain them. I'll say that. The stadium, I should say.
No.
I fully expect them to start brawling out in the crowd, and I do expect the finish to take place back inside the ring, though.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think you're going to see the entrances for this match. I think this is going to start in the parking lot.
It's watch it starts. You know when they do that introduction of all the wrestlers walking in the building?
Yeah.
Watch it starts there.
Right? At 5:00.
Yeah. And you see them like rolling down the aisle as they're brawling or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen Drew open night 2 of WrestleMania.
Look where that got him.
Yeah. But this is absolutely incredible. I love this. And I don't think Jacob needs Drew to carry this match. I think these two men are going to go out and absolutely deliver. I think that Allegiant Stadium's roof is going to potentially send the sphere rolling when it comes off that building.
Mm-hmm.
But this is going to absolutely light a fire under everybody.
Yeah, and what I mean by like Jacob not having or Drew carrying the match, he's not carrying the match. It's the moment that Drew probably needs to step in and help Jacob out on. Because again, that's that first match in that first hour on ESPN. It's also selling it to people who don't know what they want to buy WrestleMania yet. That's the big pressure there.
Yeah, the big thing is, and I have this going into it, if you're a casual fan and you don't know if you want to buy WrestleMania by now, you need to figure it out before this even goes live. What I'm envisioning with this match is that Triple H speech after NXT TakeOver, when he calls the entire locker room in and tells them, you bastards, I didn't tell you to steal the show from us. But you went out there, you made that moment, and you told the main roster to follow that.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the second match on the first night, which is the IShowSpeed, Logan Paul, Austin Theory taking on LA Knight and the Usos. Now, this is the match that I said is more or less there to attract other viewers, your actual casual wrestling fans, the ones who are there just because they're curious about Logan Paul. The fans of Logan Paul, the fans of IShowSpeed are going to tune in and watch this. These are the people that they're going to try and target to sell WrestleMania to for the WWE. So this is the match that they're going to use to try and attract outside fans to become fans.
Yeah.
I do think that this is going to be Logan Paul, Austin Theory, the Usos, and LA Knight are definitely going to be the ones to carry this match. And as I said last night, I think what you need to do is with this match is you need to take IShowSpeed and just have him do a couple of the big spots in the match. And because we've seen his reluctance to be on this team, maybe have him be reluctant to do those big spots.
You can go there. I think that on night one, this is sort of the match where you're going to really set up that first big surprise. Whether it's the return of Braun Breaker, whether it's Jay turning on Jimmy, whether it's LA Knight going and becoming the new face of the Vision. That is sort of that big surprise, that shock reveal that we're waiting for. And I think that's where this is going to happen.
I think the shock moment is going to be IShowSpeed saying, I've had enough of Logan Paul pulling his BS. And he turns and decks Logan Paul.
Okay.
Because that's where it looks like everything's leading to with that whole IShowSpeed
Right.
being very, very reluctant to be a part of it.
Right. But we also know, because we've seen IShowSpeed in the Prime bottle.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen IShow eat an RKO on the table. We know his history with Logan. I think that this is going to further solidify IShow on Logan's side. I think that this is where you can really get that push, whether you go to a heel Jimmy or turn heel Jay, to make them that new face and catapult them back into single stardom and get them that push towards a world title again.
But at the same time, a couple weeks ago, IShowSpeed was like, I don't want to be a part of this, Logan. Every time you pull me in, something bad happens to me.
Oh, I know.
I don't want to be a part of this. And Logan's forcing him to be a part of this. And like I said, this may be the breaking point for IShowSpeed. And he just sucks Logan Paul. And this leads to a Logan Paul IShowSpeed match, maybe a Backlash or something. I don't know. Well, let's quickly, we only have a few minutes of showtime here. Let's quickly go over to the opening match for night 2, the match that's going to destroy the arena. Obafemi and Brock Lesnar.
I'm going to go a little bit off the board here. Eat, sleep, conquer the ruler, repeat.
Yeah, I'm going to be against you on that one because this is Oba's star-making matchup. And if you want to build a star, you need to make him the ruler of the conqueror.
You are going to he's already getting that huge Brock Lesnar rub. The momentum he has built going into all of this, this is now where Brock's experience and knowledge is going to put him over the top. Oba's going to give a fantastic match. I don't think Oba needs a star maker match. I think he is a star already. And then we also know that Brock is probably headed to SummerSlam in his home state So to retire, and why not let him have that one last WrestleMania gasp? Because he is the main event. He is the guy that ended the streak. So let him carry that until his retirement.
Okay, but let me rebuttal you with this one. Brock Lesnar is going to leave after WrestleMania for a few months. Obafemi's not. If Obafemi loses, then you've killed his momentum and nobody's going to care. What do you do with Obafemi?
I don't think you've necessarily killed his momentum, because you can still give them a solid 10 to 15 minute opening match. And it's just a matter. What I don't want to see is the Brock Lesnar Goldberg or the Brock Lesnar Drew McIntyre 5-minute finishers, 5 minutes of finishers for each man. This can still go. And as long as Oba is getting that rub and hitting his marks, you're going to be fine with Obafemi.
Way to not answer my question. I said, what do you do with Obafemi afterwards?
Whether he wins or loses, what do you do with him?
You answered my question with the same question, but let's move on. Let's move on to the Intercontinental title match. This is there's a lot of choices here. I like a lot of them. Rey Mysterio, I'm already going to count him out for winning this match. I think he's there more or less to just help get those eyes onto the ESPN show for this matchup. This match is going to be the one that's going to make everybody be like, holy crap, that was a great match. I need to watch the rest of night 2.
Yeah,
I'm going to go with... I'm looking at this, and I'm leaning more to JD taking the win in this one.
Okay.
Because I'm thinking more about like what else is set to happen later on in that night.
Yeah, and I'm thinking long term, that JD bringing the Intercontinental title back to the Judgment Day, especially knowing that Dom is going into face Finn Balor, that is going to be huge. That's going to build the momentum for the Judgment Day. And I mean, I believe we have Liv and Stephanie on the night 1. But I can't remember offhand. I don't have the card up here in front of me. So you're going to carry that momentum.
Yeah, they are. I'm looking at the night 2 card.
So you're carrying that momentum. And WrestleMania can really solidify this new Judgment Day without Finn Balor, with JD winning. There are a lot of fantastic choices. I'd love to see Rusev get the Intercontinental title, but we haven't seen enough of him since his return last year. He's been looked spotty at best.
Yeah, all good statements there for what to expect out of these first 4 matches, but we are out of time, guys. OMD. As you can find the both of us under the host section at turnbucklestudios.org. OMD, what do you normally say about that?
Ladies and gentlemen, you can find us there, but there is one other thing you need to do for us here at turnbucklestudios.org. You need to head over to our shop.
The Turnbuckle Studios store is open for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the merch and represent the best from the shows you watch on a weekly basis. Multiple styles to choose from with over 10 products available. Don't get left out and pick up all your favorites today. Find us at turnbucklestudios.org.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Plenty of merch for you at turnbucklestudios.org/shop. It is your home of the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program, and we want you to support your favorite shows and podcasters. Wear what we wear, and all of those proceeds come back into our studios to bring you a better experience. Now, as Mr. Best was alluding to, you can find us under the host section at turnbucklestudios.org to get all of our socials and watch our latest weekly live episodic shows. But ladies and gentlemen, as we part, we'd like to remind you the world is better with you in it. From all of us here at Turnbuckle Studios and the Turnbuckle Affiliation Program, to those of you out there wherever you are, good night, good luck, we're out.
Flagship show setting the tone. In the world of wrestling we stand alone. With news and reviews we lead the way. Turnbuckle Talk every day. Turnbuckle Talk every day.
Oh.
Flagship show setting the tone. In the world of wrestling we stand alone. With news and reviews we lead the way. Turnbuckle Talk every day. Turnbuckle Talk every day.